Hello and welcome to Mind the Market, the podcast where marketing meets behavioral science and creative strategy. This podcast is designed for CEOs, top marketers, communicators, and forward-thinking entrepreneurs. Today, we are diving into a powerful psychological trick that can boost how people remember your brand. And for that, we are exploring a cognitive bias, the Zeigarnik Effect. So what is the Zeigarnik Effect? It's when your brain remembers something that isn't finished. It can be an unresolved story, an open question, or an incomplete task. And this was discovered by psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik in the 1920s. Funny fact, she noticed this phenomenon while observing waiters in a cafe. These waiters, they could recall every unpaid order, but once the bills were settled, the memory vanished. This effect shows how we remember unfinished tasks far better than completed ones. And that tension from incompletion, it lingers. It hijacks your attention. It tells your brain, this isn't over yet. And we've all felt it. That lingering thought about a project you haven't wrapped up, or the text you haven't replied to, or a movie that ends in a way that leaves us, well, quite unsettled. So, how does this play out in advertising and brand storytelling? In marketing, creating an open loop, that is a narrative that doesn't fully resolve, keeps your audience thinking about your message long after they've seen it. It creates a mental itch, something they'll subconsciously want to scratch. And let's look at two brilliant examples, one from advertising and one from film. Let's start with ads. In 1984, Apple launched its 1984 commercial, directed by Ridley Scott and inspired by George Orwell's dystopian novel. The ad shows a bleak world of conformity, and you see a lone rebel shatters a giant screen, this screen symbolizing control, repression, Big Brother. And then you've got a line. You'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984. No product demo, no features, no specs. They didn't even show the Macintosh. It was just a feeling, a question, a revolution implied, but not explained. And what happened? People debated. They discussed it. And they were wondering what it all meant. That ambiguity sparked emotional engagement, and it cemented Apple's identity as the rebel brand. Now, let's have a look at a film. Think about the final scene of Inception. That spinning top. Is Cobb still dreaming? Is it real? At that time, Christopher Nolan didn't tell us. The film ends with an unresolved question, and for years, people are still talking about it. That's the Zeigarnik Effect in action. Both Apple and Nolan leverage the same psychological trigger. They left us hanging, and in doing so, they stayed in our heads. So how can you harness this psychological bias in your own campaigns? And with a question. Instead of closing your ads with a resolution, try ending with a thought-provoking question. What happens next? It invites your audience to finish the story themselves. Start a story without finishing it. Introduce a narrative, but hold back the ending. Create tension, spark curiosity, make your audience lean in. Whether it's a video, a headline, or a social post, leave a piece missing. Let your narrative hint at a mystery that urges your audience to seek the missing pieces. And embrace ambiguity, but strategically. There's a fine line between being intriguing and being vague. So use strong visuals, sound, design, and metaphors. Make your audience feel something, but leave enough room for interpretation. Let them connect the dots. And the key here is intentionality. Do not confuse your audience, but intrigue them. Make them want more. By designing your content with open loops, just like Apple and Inception, you give your brand mental real estate in a crowded market. To conclude, in today's economy, it's not just about grabbing attention, it's about being remembered. And the Zeigarnik Effect gives you a psychological edge. It transforms your content from passive consumption to active retention. It turns your message into a mental echo. Remember the spinning top in Inception, or the hammer thrown in Apple's 1984 ad. Neither gave us a full resolution, but both stayed with us for years. So use this power in your brand storytelling. Leave room for imagination, ask questions, and don't close every loop. This is the end of the episode. Thank you for listening to Mind the Market. And if this sparked new ideas for your campaign, I'd love to hear about them. And for more brain-powered strategies, follow the podcast, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs that edge. That was Mind the Market, where strategy meets psychology. Bye!